Please, if I'm wrong, correct me at any moment. Is that so? We were sort of working with these suffixes, the ones that are in the blue boxes. Some of them would not change the stress placement. The stress would remain on the same syllable. The syllable in the root, right? When we used some suffixes, the stress would go in the syllable preceding, in the syllable before the suffix. And in some cases, the stress would be attracted by this suffix. And I think you provided some examples last class. And the idea is that today, if you did not or were not able to, or did not finish, that you could do it today. Does anyone would like to share his or her examples, the sentences? No pressures, of course.
Teacher, I could do it because I had to do the last class, but I couldn't.
Perfect, Maria Fernanda. I'm going to stop sharing so you can share, and there, anytime you want.
Okay, can you see it now?
Yes, you're sharing.
Okay. So the first 5 words I choose were two, and the first one is opinion. The example is you have to respect my opinion even if you don't like it. The second word is productive, and the example is today was a very productive day. Then we have clarify, and the example is you have to clarify your point of view about it. Then we have curious, and the example is she's so curious about animals. And the last one is spontaneous, and the example is just be spontaneous, don't think too much.
Maria Fernanda, can you make it a little bit larger, a little bit bigger? Is that possible?
Okay. Okay.
Thank
Then
you.
we have happiness. This suffix is for the word happy, and the example will be for me, butterflies are meaning of happiness. The second word will be beautiful, and I use it for the word beauty. And the example is sunshines are one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. Then we have, sorry?
Sorry to interrupt, but can you make like a zoom in at your presentation maybe, or make the letter bigger because I cannot see that
Okay,
much.
like that?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, good.
Okay, so where was? Okay, neighborhood. Neighborhood. The example is my neighborhood is actually pretty boring. Then we have personal, and if the example is don't take that personal to things that people say about you. And the last one is satisfactory. And the example is, it was so satisfactory to finally finish cleaning my room. And the last group of words are comedy, and the word was commit, and I add the suffix with double E. And the example is, the committee already took a decision. Then we have legally, and the example is, these words are right in a legalist language that I can't understand. The third word is suffragette, and the example is, she was a militant in support of the suffragette movement for women. Then we have burlesque, and the example is, the movie was so burlesque that I almost cried because of too much love. And the last one is disagree. The example would be, I'm sorry, but I completely disagree with you. And those were my examples.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Maria Fernanda. Don't stop sharing, please. Keep sharing. Sorry,
Okay.
I should have mentioned that before. I apologize. I always forget to mention that at the very beginning when students start their presentations, to tell them not to stop sharing for this sort of final conversation about the examples. Very good examples, by the way, Maria Fernanda.
Okay.
So if you show us the sentences again, I would like to focus on we can start backwards, right? From the last slide, which contained very, very good examples. I think suffragette was one of them. Suffragette, right? Another one was committee, I think. I'm just trying to remember. I'm not memorizing the examples, but committee was one. Suffragette. What was the other one? If you can show us the slide, Maria Fernanda again, please.
I'm showing you the. Oh,
Suffragette, committee. Not yet. Can you guys remember any of the other examples?
I'll stop sharing. And okay, now.
Yes, exactly. Good. Perfect.
Okay.
Great. So we have the first committee. In the second one, legalese, and the third one, suffragette. The next one, burlesque, and disagree in the last one. I would say that some of the most difficult ones are the first one.
Yeah.
And the third one, I guess.
Yeah, it was
Right?
kind of hard. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we tend to say these, we tend to stress a different syllable. That's the point. The
Yeah.
committee, the committee already took a decision. And in the third one, she was a militant in support of the suffrage. Before this one. You have happiness, beautiful, neighborhood, personal, and I think the one of the last one of the most difficult ones is the last one.
Yeah.
Right. So this question is for everyone. How do you think this word is pronounced, specifically in terms of the stress? Is it sa? Is it tis? Is it fat? Which syllable do you think is the one more prominent, the most prominent of all of the syllables present here? What do you think? Satisfactory. Fact. The second one?
The
The
third
third
one.
one? The third one? And we have, I guess, 4, 5, 6 syllables. How many vowel sounds are there in this word?
I would say 5.
5? Okay, 5. So 5 syllables, and the third one is the stressed one. Satisfactory. Okay, satisfactory. All right. And the opposite, if we have to, can we attach like a prefix? Can we say, important, unimportant, legal, illegal, regular, irregular, satisfactory? Can we add a prefix before to make?
And
Exactly. So what's the pronunciation if we add an, the prefix an at the beginning? Does the stress change? Does it shift to a different syllable? Do we say unsatisfactory?
the it changed. For me it changed. I don't know. It seems like it
Okay.
changed.
I think it stays the same because I
Okay.
would say like unsatisfactory.
Okay. Here's received it because it says enviando. So I guess you haven't. Have you received it in the chat box? So essentially, it remains, as Maria Fernandez is saying, it remains in the same syllable. Satisfactory and satisfactory. It is exactly the same syllable. Okay, interesting because it's kind of tricky. It's kind of tricky. And what about the previous slide? I think your first slide, Maria Fernanda. Thank you. And we have opinion, productive, clarify, curious, and spontaneous. Okay, all right. Today was a very productive day. Okay, just be spontaneous. Don't think too much. Excellent examples. I think they are very, very clear. So in the case of these examples, opinion, productive, clarify, curious, and spontaneous. What do they have in common? This is a question I always ask in quizzes. I put like a series of a number of examples, a number of words, and then my question is, what do they have in common? Of course, from the perspective of pronunciation, right? More specifically, lexical stress or word stress. What do they
Is
have in
that
common?
that suffixes, how to say, the syllable after before them is the stressed one, if I'm not wrong.
Okay, let's take that answer, right? Opinion, yes. To clarify, spontaneous. What do you think about this theory, about Cristobal's theory?
I think that applies for fourth of the five words, because in clarify, the stress is in the first syllable and not the syllable before the The suffix.
Alrighty, let's test that that answer. Or okay, clarify. What's the suffix in the third example? Is it fi or ifi? What do you think?
A5.
Ifi. So if it's ifi, what's the preceding
Oh,
syllable?
oh, I was wrong.
No, I mean, if I like that. I mean, I like that you know, say what's in your mind and test your answers and see if you're right or wrong and why, and then we all learn. That's the point. That's the idea. So it seems that that's the idea here, right? Cristóbal's post an answer here. It is the previous syllable before the suffix, the one which carries the stress. It seems to be working. And in the second slide, Maria Fernanda, do you think it's exactly the same situation? Do you think it is the preceding syllable?
I'm not sure because, for example, in personal, it would be the first one, and satisfactory would be the third one. So I'm not sure.
Let's test Cristóbal's theory, which worked for the previous slide, but we're not sure for this one. Satisfactory. So there's one syllable before the suffix t, ri, right? T, and it's not stressed. We don't say satisfactory. So in that case, it doesn't work. Personal has three syllables. Personal. The suffix is al, and the syllable before, son. We don't say personal. So it doesn't work for this one. Neighborhood. Neighborhood. We don't say neighborhood. So the previous syllable is not carrying the stress. Beautiful, same thing. We don't say beautiful. And in the first one, we don't say happiness. So it doesn't work on this slide. So what do they have in common? So the rule we were talking about does not apply here, right?
I
So,
think that is the same rule, but it's not the syllable before. Is the, I don't know how to say, antepenúltima. I mean, before.
yeah.
the
Before the last one, yeah.
suffix. Yeah,
Right.
because happiness, beautiful, neighborhood, personal is satisfactory. They are all stressed in the syllable before the suffix. I think
Yeah.
so.
Okay. All right. Good. Good. That could work, right? That could work because it works for every single word. Okay. Let's think about another word containing these suffixes. For example, for neighborhood, I can think of motherhood, motherhood, childhood, childhood. So if we think about childhood, how many syllables can you identify in the word child? Sorry, childhood. Childhood.
Two.
Two. Okay. And the one stressed?
The first one.
The first one, right? Childhood. So we can test this. We can compare what we're saying with some other examples and see if this rule can be applied to these other examples. In the case of childhood, we have only two syllables, so we cannot say that the syllable before the penultimate syllable is the one stressed when we attached as suffix like hood, right? Now, what if we think about the root of the word? In the word happiness, the root would be happy. Yes, happy, okay. In the word beautiful,
It will be beauty,
probably beauty, right? And what about the next ones?
neighbor,
Neighbor, then
mm, person,
person, and then
satisfaction, maybe.
maybe satisfaction, right? Exactly. So when we say in the first one happy, happy, and we attach the suffix ness, happy, happiness, happy, happiness. Is there any change in terms of where the stress falls?
Mm, I don't think there's a chance.
Mm-hmm. And the next one, beauty, beautiful. Beauty,
Mm,
beautiful.
no, music,
No, no, okay. Neighbor, neighborhood. Neighbor, neighborhood. Person, personal. Person, personal. Satisfaction,
Also,
satisfactory. So,
is the same like with the prefixes. I mean, they don't change the stress on the root word.
right, in general, not in 100% of the cases, but in general, prefixes do not change the stress syllable, exactly the position of the stress. And when you're attaching suffixes like nes, full, hood, al, re, these suffixes do not change the stress placement, exactly. So that could be something that these 5 words have in common. Okay. I always, sorry to repeat myself to say it again, but I always like put these examples in a quiz or in a test to make students think like what words have in common in terms of lexical stress is, well, in this case, it's basically that, right? That when you're attaching these type of suffixes, they are not changing the place where the stress goes or falls on. Exactly. I have to congratulate Maria Fernanda because these were very, very good examples, and I think they helped us to realize I mean, trying to go beyond and the reading aloud and trying to analyze from a phonological perspective. Thank you very much, Maria Fernanda, for sharing.
okay.
Alrighty, and I think Sebastian already shared last session. Patricio did so as well. Cristobal, I think you already shared as well. And Amaya, I think you already shared as well.
I think
I'm not 100%, but correct me.
I think I don't share the other class. Let me find my document.
So you're having trouble sharing. Maybe if you cannot share, you can send the examples. You can copy and paste them in the chat box, and I can, paste them in a slide, a PowerPoint slide, and I can share them. We can do that if you want.
No, I made it in Word. I trying to find the document.
Yeah, no problem. If you're working with Word file, no problem at all. Who cares about PowerPoint slides are overrated. I think there are other ways to present material. So yeah, go ahead with the Word file. Absolutely. In the meantime, I think we were working with this one, right? This presentation about lexical stress and syllables. Yes, we started with this one, if I'm not mistaken. So whenever you want, Amaya, you can start with sharing your examples, all right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I trying to find the word.
That's all right. That's all right. No big deal. This is the second day that I'm standing. I'm not sitting, and it's good. It's good not to be sitting, because you know we all have to be in front of a screen too much during the day, and it's a good exercise, and also a physical exercise, to be standing and not just sitting. It allows you to move. I suggest this this way to face a session. All right, you can stand up, you can move around. It's good. It's good. Even if you're cold, it helps you because you move and you don't need to be in your beds or covered with a lot of clothing items. Okay. So Amaya, what we're going to do is I'm going to start the presentation of the PowerPoint presentation that we started before the previous week, and then at any moment you can. Or the other option is that we can move on with the presentation up until the break, and then after the break, if you are okay with that, you can start the second part of this session with your presentation. So, you know.
Yeah, it's better because it is. I don't know why it don't open. So yeah, it will help really much.
Yes, that's all right. So that can give you time to, you know, prepare that. So you can do this after the break if that's okay with you. All right. So I think we started with this already, and the point is stress placement, which is the title for this slide, has a great impact on communication, on understanding. Because if you take a look at the example, the example insight and insight, the placement of the stress changes the meaning of the word. Insight and insight have different meanings, right? And if we take it to parts of speech like nouns, verbs, adjectives, if we say suspect or suspect, record or record, convict and convict, we're using a different part of speech. We're using a verb or a noun or an adjective, and according to the context, we may be impacting negatively the communication. If we want to express an action, and we should be using a verb, and actually we're not using a verb, but we were using a noun. That is having an impact on communication. It's like in Spanish, you would say, voy a comida instead of voy a comer, or I don't know. I cannot think of any other example in Spanish. So the point is, it is affecting communication, basically, if you are stressing a different syllable. Okay, it's not like so light. It's actually, it might be quite complex for communication. And according to some authors, and I think I mentioned this before, sometimes where you place a stress might affect communication more than, you know, making a mistake in pronouncing one word or one sound incorrectly. Okay, and in terms of syllables, there are, and we saw this last class, some sounds that can be part of syllables, but only in initial position, like in help and behave, right? And others which can be part of syllables, but only in final positions. So in the case of the first one, right, that can be only part of onsets. And in the case of this sound can be part of syllables in the coda only. If you remember the concept, onset is any consonant sound coming before or preceding the nucleus or peak. Remember, the nucleus or peak are the vowel sounds, right? So in the case of help, we have A as the nucleus, and this could be the onset, right? The onset. And in the case of the coda, it should be this, right? That should be the coda. And in the case of behave, the nucleus is, or peak, is the vowel sound E, and the onset is the consonant before. And in the case of have, because this word has two syllables, A would be the nucleus, the diphthong A. The consonant sound V is going to be the coda, and it's going to be the onset. As you can see, the sound can be part of onsets only in English. In other languages, it can be part of a coda. It could go in after the nucleus. In the case of as in sing, song, right? It could be part of a coda. Okay. So far, is that clear? I mean, this is what happens in English, but in other languages, there are no such restrictions. And sometimes the first one can go in a coda. And in other languages, like Vietnamese, can go as onset in a syllable. Can go before the nucleus in a syllable. So far, so good? Can we move to the next slide?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Please, any questions, let me know. I think we already have covered the components of a syllable, right? And remember that when you play a game of rhyming words, this is how it works. You focus on the final syllable of the word, the final syllable. And this symbol, which is a Greek symbol called sigma, represents what the syllable is. Oh, okay, so this is a syllable. And the syllable is composed by the onset and the rhyme is composed by the nucleus and the coda. So if I say the following words, for example, what rhymes with cat? Which words rhyme with cat?
Flat.
Flat, perfect. Any other? Any other? Any other, as some speakers say, right? Any other? Any other? Any other word rhyming with cat?
What?
Which one?
What?
That, right? Is it TH-AT? Yes? Okay, excellent. That, any other? The last one. The last one, please. Pretty, please.
Could it be pat?
Okay, how do you spell it? P-A-T?
Yes.
All right, excellent. Pat. Pat, like when you're patting the back someone, like good job, right? Pat, you're patting someone's back. Yes? Okay, so we have flat, that, and pat. Why do you think these words rhyme from the, phonological perspective? What kind of phonological explanation can we give to these words rhyming? Is it magic?
Oh, I think that is because they all share the same nucleus and coda, which both are defined as rhyme.
Perfect. I mean, what a great answer. Precise, straight to the point. That's basically the answer. Exactly. They share the same rhyme, the same nucleus, and the same coda. Perfectly said. The onset does not matter. The, p. The onset does not matter when we are rhyming words. I mean, that could be part of a different game. But let's focus on the same onset. And I say, list 3 words containing the same onset as the example. Cat. Which could be other words containing the same onset of cat? Probably you could say...
The verb cat, maybe? I mean to cut.
Okay, excellent. Cut. The verb cut. C-U-T. For example, coda. Coda is right there. Component, right? Because when we think about the onset, we think about the consonant sound preceding the nucleus. In this case, the onset is k. Now, if the word is clan, for instance, clan, and I tell you, okay, list a word, list 3 words containing the same onset as the word clan. So in that case, you should think about kl, right? K and l as the onset. So you should list 3 words containing kl. Okay, but going back to the rhyme, exactly. Cat, flat, or that, and pat rhyme because they share the same, they have the same nucleus and coda. Exactly. That's the point. And I think we saw this slide, didn't we? Last session.
I think so.
Do you think so? Do you remember this one? Yes. So what's new about this? We have a 2-syllable word, 2-syllable limit. How do we express this in this syllable? They call this syllable. I mean, there are different names. Different authors try to use different terms to complicate our lives. Syllable trees, all right? Or syllabic trees. It says in this syllable tree, we can identify 2 syllables in limit, and we display or show these in this syllable tree by having these 2 sigmas here, right? 2 syllables. And the description of the first one is right there with the nucleus here. Always a vowel sound, and an onset with the consonant L. And the same thing with the next syllable, which we have a nucleus E, an onset with the consonant M, and a coda with the consonant T. Okay, and when you have a syllable composed by 3, 4, 5, or 6 syllables, then these syllable tree grows and it becomes quite complex to see. But in this case, I think it's still understandable, still approachable. Okay. In terms of the structure of the syllable, here we have some, I think, new information that we're going to cover. This is going to be the last slide before to ask from the bottom, Sebastián, then Patricio, and then Maria Fernanda. Sebastián, Patricio, Maria Fernanda. There are 3 paragraphs. If you would be kind enough to read them aloud, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
The syllables that make up words are analyzed in terms of 3 positions. The minimal type of syllables composed of only a vowel. For example, I, O. The vowel is therefore considered a central part of any syllable, and its peak position, also called syllabic, syllable medial, and nuclear.
Before the vowel, there may be one or more consonants. For example, tie, stay. This position is known as the onset, also called syllable initial or releasing.
After the vowel, there may also be one or more consonants. Example, iles. This position is known as the coda, also called syllable final, upset, or arresting.
Great, thank you so much. So as you can see, there are other terms that can be used instead of using peak position. It could be syllabic position, syllable medial position, or nuclear position. Okay, to refer to the nucleus or peak of the syllable. In the case of the onset, we also find other names like syllable initial position or releasing position for the same concept, right? Onset. And for the last concept, coda, we can also find authors calling this as the syllable final position, the offset, or the arresting sound or the arresting position. Okay? So we're going to take a break now, all right? And after the break, we're going to talk about the structure of a syllable. And the structure of the syllable is very simple. We're going to see that we can describe a word like containing only a vowel sound, like I. I has just one vowel sound because it's just a diphthong. I. So it's just one vowel sound. And these represent a zero. Zero onset, zero coda. So we have zero onset, a vowel, and a zero coda. Okay, so this is the example here, right here. So we're going to see this after the break. We're going to follow with the structure of the syllable, right? Some aspects that are a little bit boring because they're connected with theory. But after we cover this, we're going to have some practical exercises, particularly with how we can divide a word into syllables. And I think this is going to be the last class that we're dealing with syllables, because then we need to move on to strong and weak forms. Okay, so this is, I would say, the last session that formally we are dealing with syllable. Then we're going to revisit the syllable, but not as a class, but at some exercises connected with other contents. So if you are all right with this, we're having a 10-minute break. And for those of you joining the second session, we are finishing with the syllable this session. Okay, so stay tuned. I'll see you in about 10 minutes, if that's all right with you.
Okay, see you
All right.
later.
All right, see you around. I'm going to stop recording. So Amaya, if you want to start the second part with your presentation, we're totally fine with that. Okay, just let us know, right?